It's October 25, 1415, and an F-35A Lightning II streaks confidently through the skies above northern France, flanked on either side by two imaginary wingmen that exist only in the pilot's training exercises. The smooth fighter jet flies confidently, knowing that in 2024, nothing in the skies can match its advanced capabilities. Then, the unthinkable happens. Halfway through his flight path, the F-35 pilot spots something impossible. Thousands of armored knights on horseback and English longbowmen facing off in a muddy field 30,000 feet below. They've never seen anything like this before. The medieval armies frantically look up as the jet's engines roar overhead, but they'll never understand what just flew past them. That's because this F-35A Lightning II has just time-traveled back 600 years and is now flying above the Battle of Agincourt, equipped with weapons that won't be invented for centuries. Before the French knights have time to react, another roar splits the air, and both medieval armies stare up in absolute terror at a metal demon. Size mismatch, big targets versus precision strikes. The F-35 has medieval armies that were huge and tightly packed. At Agincourt, the French fielded somewhere between 12,000 to 25,000 soldiers together in formations that made perfect sense in 1415. But this would be suicide against modern weapons. In the medieval military, more soldiers in tighter groups meant more fighting power. Knights rode shoulder to shoulder, archers stood in long lines, and infantry marched in dense blocks. These formations worked great against other medieval armies, but created massive, unmissable targets for an F-35. A single precision-guided bomb could eliminate an entire group of knights in one blast. What took medieval armies hours of brutal hand-to-hand combat to achieve, the F-35 could accomplish in seconds from miles away. The French army's greatest strength, its overwhelming numbers, becomes its greatest weakness against modern firepower. But size advantage is just the beginning. Medieval weapons versus modern speed. While French knights are proud of their crossbows that can shoot bolts at around 140 miles per hour, and English archers boast longbows that can shoot arrows at roughly 130 miles per hour, they're facing something that moves at 1,200 miles per hour. That's Mach 1.6, or about 9 times faster than their fastest projectiles. The medieval mind understood speed in terms of horses, maybe 35 miles per hour for short bursts. The concept of something moving at supersonic speeds simply didn't exist. A crossbow bolt that seems lightning fast to a medieval warrior would appear to struggle through the air compared to the F-35 screaming overhead. Even more unfair, the F-35's 25mm cannon fires rounds at over 2,300 miles per hour. The GAU-22A fires at 3,300 rounds per minute, while a medieval archer needs 15 seconds to draw, aim, and release an arrow. The F-35's cannon can fire over 800 rounds in that same time frame. That's like facing an archer who can shoot 180 arrows while you're still pulling back your bowstring. Medieval armies had never developed tactics for aerial threats because flying machines didn't exist. Every shield, every formation, every defensive strategy was designed for ground-level combat. Still, you might think the French could adapt somehow. After all, they had brilliant military minds and thousands of experienced warriors. The armor problem. The French knights at Agincourt wore the finest plate armor money could buy, steel that could stop arrows, deflect sword blows, and protect against maces. They felt invincible in their metal suits. Against an F-35, that armor becomes a shiny target. Medieval armor was designed to protect against medieval weapons. The heaviest impact these knights had ever faced was maybe a 20-pound warhammer swung by a strong man. The F-35 carries bombs weighing up to 2,000 pounds. That's 100 times heavier than the most powerful medieval weapon. Another major thing is that modern air-to-ground missiles can lock onto individual targets from miles away, and a French knight charging across the muddy field wouldn't even know he's been targeted before a missile erases him from existence. For knights, their expensive armor actually works against them. That polished steel plate shows up perfectly on the F-35's targeting systems, like a mirror reflecting sunlight. Medieval hiding meant hiding behind trees, but the F-35's thermal imaging sees body heat through any cover. Far more terrifying for any medieval army, though, is what happens when supernatural fear meets military reality. Psychological terror. Medieval armies were incredibly superstitious. They saw omens in bird flights and cloud formations. A flying metal creature that breathes fire and thunder? That's not an enemy aircraft. That's a demon sent from hell itself. The F-35 wouldn't even need to fire its weapons initially. Its first attack would be pure psychological war. Medieval battles often ended when armies broke and ran after losing just 10% of their forces. The sight of this impossible flying machine would probably cause mass desertion before the first shot was fired. But their weakness is their commanding system. Knights followed their lords, who followed higher nobles, who followed the king. The F-35 could systematically eliminate every French commander with its precision targeting. Take out the leadership, and 20,000 soldiers become a confused mob with no idea what to do. Therein lies another devastating advantage the F-35 possesses, its ability to strike from impossible distances. Medieval close combat versus modern standoff. Medieval warfare was personal and up close. Knights had to ride within reach to kill you. Archers needed to get within 300 yards for effective shots. The F-35 can engage targets from over 40 miles away with some weapon systems. Imagine being King Henry V, watching through a spyglass as explosions suddenly start erupting throughout the French ranks. The F-35 is so far away, it's invisible to the naked eye, yet French knights are being eliminated with surgical precision. Medieval minds couldn't grasp being killed by an enemy they couldn't see, hear, or reach. This range advantage completely breaks medieval military thinking. Armies positioned themselves based on bow range and cavalry charge distances. The F-35 operates from altitudes that medieval minds couldn't reach. Being killed by an invisible enemy from impossible distances is divine punishment for unknown sins. And the hopeless thing for the French is their complete inability to fight back effectively. Medieval countermeasures, hopeless desperation. The French commanders, trying to maintain some control, would desperately attempt to fight back. Their most advanced ranged weapon, the crossbow, could shoot maybe 400 yards on a good day. The F-35 cruises at 30,000 feet, roughly 6 miles straight up. And the siege engines, trebuchets, could hurl 300-pound stones great distances against castle walls. But hitting a target moving at supersonic speeds is like trying to hit a bullet shot from a gun using a baseball bat. The knight's best strategy would be hiding in the nearby woods, hoping this metal demon would go away. But the F-35's thermal imaging sees body heat through trees, turning their hiding spots into shooting galleries. Every medieval countermeasure would be to backfire spectacularly. Spread out formations to minimize bomb damage? Now the English ground forces can pick them off easily. Night attacks when the demon can't see? The F-35's night vision makes darkness meaningless. It's like playing a game where your opponent can break every rule while you cannot. But something that seals the medieval army's fate is something they never had to worry about before: weather independence. Weather, medieval weakness, modern irrelevance. The Battle of Agincourt was famous for its muddy conditions. Heavy rains turned the battlefield into a swamp, sink and slip French knights and making them easy targets for English arrows. Weather controlled medieval warfare completely. The F-35 laughs at the weather. Rain, fog, darkness, none of it matters to this monster. The jet's radar sees through any conditions. Its thermal imaging turns night into day, and it flies above storm clouds at 50,000 feet, where skies are always clear. While medieval armies would shelter in tents during storms, the F-35 operates in any weather, any time. Medieval commanders planned entire campaigns around seasonal weather patterns. The F-35 pilot checks the forecast out of curiosity and not necessity. All of which brings us to the ultimate question about this technological mismatch. The ultimate answer. So could one F-35 actually win the Battle of Agincourt? The answer is simple: the battle would be over in minutes. Medieval armies routinely broke and fled after losing small percentages of their forces. The F-35 could eliminate hundreds of soldiers in its first attack itself, and it would end the 100 Years' War entirely. Through sheer terror and the complete collapse of medieval military understanding, survivors would spread tales across Europe of English sorcery that summoned metal dragons from the heavens. This monster would be just like a fictional character to them, and no army would dare face the English again, assuming they possessed supernatural powers that could rain fire from the skies. The F-35 has limitations, fuel, ammunition, and the need to eventually land. But in the context of medieval warfare, where battles were decided by morale as much as casualties, those limitations wouldn't matter. One demonstration of its power would end wars before they started. But what do you think? Could medieval minds even accept what they were seeing? Would the psychological impact alone change the entire course of European history? And do you think one F-35 could single-handedly end the 100 Years' War time period early? Share your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe, and wait to watch another stunning what-if topic. I will see you in the next stunning video soon.